is Coach Becky from Dock Lane, and I'm here with former Boston Breaker and team manager at the U.S. Ski and Snowboard, Jess Tamez. And hi, Jess. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And I just want to remind people this is our 10th episode of Kids and COVID-19. And I'm so excited. I haven't seen Jess in quite a while, and she's been up to so many great things in the last couple of years. So, Jess, tell us how you've been, what your life's been like navigating COVID-19, and anything that's new in your life.
Yeah, no, it's great to get to chat with you, and like we were talking earlier, it's thank you for thinking of me, and really looking forward to this. So things have been good. We are in Salt Lake City, Utah. I work for U.S. Ski and Snowboard Association, which is based out of Park City, which is about 25 minutes away from Salt Lake. So we have been navigating kind of the COVID-19 shutdowns like everyone else. Utah has been a little bit different than what it sounds like you all are dealing with back in Boston. We had a real hard shutdown towards the beginning, but we have been reopening pretty steadily recently. So it's been good. The first few weeks were a little hectic. We had to get all of our teams back from Europe. We had a handful of athletes and staff in Europe, and just not sure how to navigate some of the travel restrictions. We decided to kind of just do full evacuation from Europe. So there was a few long nights, but since then it's kind of just been settling in, figuring out kind of the work from home. We got a new puppy right before everything shut down. So that was definitely also been
That's
a
so
nice little
exciting.
curveball. Yeah.
Does the puppy have a name?
Her name is Aspen. She's a
Oh,
border collie. Yep. So, and that's been kind of a great distraction too, because you still have to get outside, go for walks, and really remove yourself and focus as much as you can on this dog, so that they're not impacted from the new having you guys around all the time and everything. So it's been good. We're figuring out what it looks like moving forward with returning to snow, getting camps done, how to do it safely, but also how to kind of just navigate it so it's done correctly when we do decide to return to snow and go. So it's been busy.
yeah, that's so much to handle. And as you're saying really well, puppies and other moments of joy are such great distractions during this time. Um, and could you tell us a little bit more what you actually do on a day-to-day basis with US Ski and Snowboard?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work technically within the Olympic movement. So the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee is kind of that oversighting body that we fall under. We are a nonprofit. We function completely separately from the Olympic and Paralympic Committee within all of our day-to-day, but we work really closely with them for the games. So my specific role is I am the team manager for our Freeski Snowboard teams. So the best way to kind of describe that to people is like anything that would be in a ski park. So jumps, half pipe, rails, slope style, the X Games, sort of, people think of the X Games when they think of those teams. So it's about 75 athletes, around 20 staff that I work very closely with. And my job is essentially overseeing logistics, operations, budgets. I kind of tell people that my job is essentially behind the team executing. And if I do my job well, then I'm helping create these distraction-free, performance-enhancing environments, not just within training camps, but also internationally at competitions as well.
Great. Thank you for that
Yeah.
overview.
Yeah.
And for many of our viewers, they don't know that we're both BU women's soccer alums. But since then, you've played for the Boston Breakers. You've held a variety of roles, including being at USA Triathlon, US Olympic Committee, USA Boxing, and now this new role at US Ski and Snowboard. I think I got all of them, but I'm not sure. Um, And have there been any common themes around mental health, mental wellness, performance, either for yourself or for the teams or the athletes that you've worked with along your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you got them all.
Okay.
I've bounced around from they're called national governing bodies, is what we call them within the Olympic movement, and I've worked for quite a few, which has been really awesome because I've gotten to work across a lot of different sports. So, like you said, my background, I'm a tried and true soccer player, and so I was able to work a little bit with U.S. Soccer. I've done some work with USA Triathlon, US Ski and Snowboard, USA Boxing. And one of the things that is across the board again for everyone is mental health. But what it looks like within it is very different. So I think what's been really interesting is to see sports in general just acknowledge the growth and the need for mental health, and not just athletic preparation, but more of a, what does it look like for you specifically as a whole person. So that's one of the things that we really try to do is support the athlete as a whole human. I'm not just managing skiers and snowboarders. I manage people, and they're people that have different needs, different wants, different goals, different personalities. So one of the things that's been really amazing to see is the growth of our athlete career and education services, our sports psychology services, and how it's becoming, we're introducing it at a younger and younger age, and it's becoming something. USA Boxing, we had a sports psychologist that traveled with our team and did work, was kind of embedded within our program. At US Ski and Snowboard, we have a full-time sports psychologist on staff that will do either group sessions or also do one-on-one sessions. So I think across the board, the growth from 10, 15 years ago has been unbelievable. And the understanding of how it's a customized individual product now has been remarkable to see organizations just investing that time and that energy into those. It's not just strength training anymore. It's that whole athlete.
Yeah, for sure. And you were a very decorated athlete at Boston University. And I know that you dealt with a lot of injuries and a lot of bumps along the road, let's just say. Is there anything you want to put it lightly, I should say,
Yeah.
is there anything you want to comment on or sort of fill in the gaps around that in terms of your own mental health and performance?
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think, as any athlete knows, like, you never get through a career unscathed, and you're always trying to navigate, whether I was very fortunate where I had two major injuries, but that was really it. I had a lot of little minor ones that our medical team at Boston University was unbelievable. So they definitely kept me going. But yeah, when I was playing, I was ankle sprains were apparently my injury of choice. So I had to have an ankle reconstruction, a full ankle reconstruction in 2012 after my rookie year with the Boston Breakers. And it was tough. That was the first time that I had an injury actually put me out for more than just a couple weeks in a walking boot on crutches that I was icing. It was legitimately teaching myself how to walk again, how to run, how to push off correctly, and work on other imbalances that were creating that problem. So for me, that was an incredible mental challenge, because I came from just this side where it's like you just keep going, like you just keep, like, it's a challenge, but you're going to get through it. And I was always fortunate to have the resources and the support to be able to invest in PT and get into the pool and really do that. But 20 weeks post-op, I broke my other ankle. I got completely cleared to play, was cleared, and broke my other ankle. And at that point, I think that's where I would say my mental health started slipping a bit. You think that you can only hold on and be so strong for so long, and the 1-2 punch got me. So I ended up retiring, and thankfully I was at the Olympic Committee. So I was able to take this passion that I have for sports and soccer and athletes and bring it into a career. And I think for many years that was such a motivating and driving factor to what I did and how hard I would work and how long I would work, and to be able to help others and support their dreams is just so fulfilling. But during that time, I probably didn't give myself the mental health work that I needed. And it was important to me at a certain point. My body just stopped, and I was like, as an athlete, you feel it if you do something, you're like, ooh, that is a lot harder than what it should be. And I had to stop and really go in. I was getting a lot of tests done, was trying to figure out, was it an autoimmune disease? Was it just what happened? Did I get something from traveling or what? And I actually ended up being diagnosed with general anxiety disorder and panic disorder. And that kind of stopped my world. As athletes and as New Englanders, we have this pride in us of like, yeah, we're all going through stuff, but my stuff's not any different than anyone else's. Let's just keep going. And it made me stop and look and say, okay, well, there's things that I thought were like just incompetencies of, I couldn't do this because I just wasn't good enough or strong enough, and trying to just break down the wall. And really it was my mental health, and I was ignoring it. I was worrying about everyone else. I was making sure all my people were taken care of, and I forgot to take care of myself. So I think being able to be in my role as a team manager, I really had to stop just worrying about everyone else and make sure that I could take care of myself. It makes me a better team manager. It makes me a better person. And really giving that the time of day of like, it matters. We're all on a spectrum, and my anxiety and my panic I have to focus on it a little bit more, and that's okay. And to come with terms with that has only made me better and feel more human. And slowly, I was feeling better. I was back running long distances. I was back, I had energy again. And it's not because I was eating better or I was, doing X, Y, and Z. I was solely focused on my mental health. So it's such a big aspect. And for young athletes, it's something that I get excited now to talk about, because it would have made me a better teammate if I had focused on my mental health more. It would have made me a better athlete. It would have made me a better person. And it's not something that is a one-fits-all solution. We were joking earlier, we did a lot of meditation in college, and I really didn't do well with it. I would start being like, okay, I need these 5 things from the grocery store. I need to do these 6 chemistry assignments. And oh my gosh, I had no clue what they were talking about in bio lecture today. And man, like, do I need to go do more sprints? Like, am I ready for the game? Like, how can I be juggling all this? And now, years removed, I realize it was undiagnosed anxiety and panic, and I was never going to thrive in that. But now it's been so encouraging to see teams come up with individual responses and individual support, and understanding that this is real. We're all working through it in our own different way. And it's been encouraging to see the attention, especially what you guys are doing, just bringing attention and making it a conversation. I used to think I just wasn't meant to do yoga or meditation. That's not my thing, but I should try harder. And really, I needed to step back and come up with different tools in my toolkit.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jess. And as your teammate a long time ago, but as your teammate for life, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And it takes a lot of guts, and it just takes a lot to share your story. And I'm hearing more and more through our Kids in COVID-19 series, but also just in the sports world, people standing up and being bold to talk about their stories. And as someone who works with kids, it makes a big difference. because they look at people like you or like Kevin Love or Hannah Hall, people who are playing on the field or people who have played as superheroes. And so we need to amplify everyone's voices and tell kids that people do struggle and people have victories, but also sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and that's really okay. So we want
Exactly. And the thing too about it is, right, like as an athlete, I approached every game like I wasn't going to blink first. Like I was not going to budge first. Like you were not going to see me show that I was tired. You weren't going to see me show that I was frustrated. You were just going to get a blank slate because we're playing, and I'm not going to show you a sign of weakness. And I think within that and the era that I was playing on during it, mental fortitude, if you didn't have it, it got processed as a sign of weakness. It wasn't just now, it's normal. It's, oh, there's ebbs and flows, and it's a dynamic spectrum of where you are on it. And you have your good days, you have, your bad days, and it's how do you approach each day differently? And it's okay to go out there and have a bad day, but how can you say, okay, I'm here right now, I'm in the moment, I'm worried about all these other things, but for the next 2 hours, I have soccer. And then where I was failing was when I left soccer, I wasn't addressing what was making me nervous, what was, driving me crazy, and what was, running circles in my brain. But soccer became, I used to tell everyone, soccer is my escape.
Mhm.
And soccer is still my escape, but I'm realizing that there's a healthy way to have it be your escape. And for me, I was running away from my mental health. I could play soccer for 20 out of 24 hours a day and be the happiest kid ever because I didn't have to deal with my brain. And now the COVID thing, the blessing in disguise is like, we have no option, right? Like we're here, we're in our houses, we are stuck with ourselves, for lack of a better word. And to be able to take the time to say like, hey, it's normal to go through this. And I struggled with watching all my teammates, go to yoga classes and, really just like have these days off where they just like came back refreshed. And I remember looking at them like, what did you do? Because like, I can't do that. And it became very easy, like, oh, I'm not flexible. Oh, so yoga's not going to be my thing. Like, oh, I don't sit still well. Well, meditation's not going to be my thing. And really it was, I just needed different skills. And I think it's so great for especially like your athletes to know like there's different avenues. It's not just this one fits all solution. Going for a jog is a release for me. It probably does better for me than if you tried to, sit and give me quiet time. And that's okay. And that's my exit, and that gets my thoughts together. And it's being able to craft that and seeing how the mental health world has grown, for that to now be really truly like acceptable options, and people understand the individualization of it. It's really cool.
Yeah, thanks, Jess. And a few things that I'm hearing from you for our young people, and I would love you to add on to this, is that when they develop their coping skills for themselves, it truly is for them. And so they should individualize that. And if something is being suggested to them and it's not working, that's completely okay. But also that mental health is something that should be for all athletes, and should be considered really early on so that you can build your skills as you become an elite performer. But are there other ththings that you would add for young
Absolutely.
people?
I think all people need to do mental health, and I like, that's it, right? I think there's a lot of pressures within a team environment too, of like, well, this is working for everyone else, why isn't this working for me? Or this is what, we do this on Tuesday afternoons. And I think for me, I always felt like I internalized it incorrectly, right? So like, okay, well, we're going to go do our team meditation. Am I the only one struggling here and not able to, like, I left more stressed, but it's what we did as a team. So mentally, I just kept doing it because I was like, okay, well, I have to get better at it. I have to get better at it. And now it's definitely become more acceptable to say like, hey, meditation's not my thing, but can I, instead of doing this, can I do visualization? I found that visualization was very helpful for me. And owning your own journey in it too. And that's something that has definitely helped me understand that like we all sit within a spectrum of things that work for us and things that don't work for us. And it's being open-minded, right? Like I love talking to my athletes that I manage that are really into yoga and really into other avenues of mental health that I don't always do as well with. But hearing from them, like, what got you there? How do you get there? Like, what are those things? And learning from other people so that you can kind of take a little your own mental health aspect. And yeah, it's something that, kind of like I said earlier, if I had figured that out earlier, right? Hindsight is 2020 right now, but I think that I would have walked in the locker room a different human. I think I would have interacted with my teammates differently. I think it would have taken down a lot of this. I instantly felt sometimes defensive because it's like, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I'm messed up. And it's you're not messed up. You just need to find your own thing, and then you need to own it because it's your mental health. And I think that's for any athlete to learn from everyone around them, and then, you know, dial in what works for you. You know, everyone, you were probably used to it. Everyone had a different, some people were in the locker room with their headphones on and you don't talk to them. Yeah. Some people need to talk and socialize. That's something that as a team manager, I know which athletes on the day of competition I can hang out with and talk to and, you know, have conversations with. I know which ones need to just be in their own head and separate. I know what coaches as well. We had a coach for boxing who, if you got him tea, he was from Europe, like he was from Ireland, and it was one of those where it was like, okay, I sense you're getting a little stressed. It's fight day. Like let's go grab a cup of tea. And it's being able to support everyone's own journey how you can. And that's a really cool part of my job that I get to do daily.
Hmm. And lastly, Jess, as we start to wrap up our time today, I get a lot of calls from coaches who feel ill-equipped to handle mental health concerns from their athletes, wide variety of ages. But speaking to your own mental health struggles and those that you know of from other athletes that you've encountered, what tips might you have for coaches, or just suggestions on how to be more responsive or just accepting of challenges that athletes are going through?
That's a fantastic question, and props to every single coach that reaches out and says, like, I want to know more. I want to be better for my athletes. I think, little sidebar, like coaching is something that like every coach I've met has some sort of this intangible aspect to them that makes them so unbelievably valuable. I tried coaching. I didn't have the intangible aspect. And I love working and talking with our coaches. And I think one thing that I've learned is that as a highly, you know, competitive and an athlete that only wants success, you never want to go on the field and lose, right? That when it comes to your mental health, sometimes when you're having a bad day, it feels like a loss, and you feel like, oh, I should be perfect every day. I practice my craft to be as close to perfect as I can be every day. You try to practice out your errors, right? And mental health, it takes that amount of practice, but it's scary because you do have to fail. You have to have the ebbs and flows. So I think as a coach, just explaining like, hey, it's like practice. You will shank a shot. You will have a day where it may not be as good as you want. And you may give yourself, you know, a C- when you're used to trying to give yourself an A. And I think those sort of having those conversations and letting everyone know that like, it's okay. You're not, this mental health isn't something that you can do 100% of the time, and being human with it. And that's where I shied away from it, because for a while, I felt like I was failing. I felt like I couldn't reach the standard of expectation of myself within these sessions. And that became really infuriating, and I gave up on it. And not until years later did I have to pick it back up. And I think just knowing that it's a skill, it's a hard skill, and having coaches just keep encouraging people, whether it's a couple minutes a day, doing random checks, throughout the day of like, how am I feeling? How am I doing? That may just be it. And I think being able to, for coaches now, especially in COVID-19, like understanding everyone's internalizing things so differently. I love working from home. I know people that miss the social aspect of going into an office, and within a team, coaches just to individualize and customize their approach to every athlete right now. Every athlete, every kid's dealing with something different. That every home looks different. Every experience is different. So I think just really keep listening, keep customizing, and keep letting everyone know that like it's a skill. It takes years to develop. You don't just do a couple sessions. Because I mean, I wish soccer was that easy, right? I wish I could do a couple sessions and hit every single free kick I ever stepped up to take. But why is mental health expected to be any different?
Yeah, I love that perspective that it is a process, and mental health sort of parallels that process of athletic skill development. And also want to highlight your point just around check-ins, and that how you are doing is sort of fluid, especially with the climate right now around COVID-19 and systemic racism in this country, is that if you're okay at 9 o'clock, you might not be okay at noon.
Right.
So it's sort of like checking in with yourself
Mm-hmm.
and just seeing how you're doing from moment to moment, but also as a coach and a trusted adult, also doing that check-in process with your athletes and also your staff too. But Jess, I've been peppering you with questions and kind of giving you all these difficult questions, but you're welcome to ask me one. And we didn't talk about this, but
I know. I totally spaced on that, but I loved your insight on kind of what the coaches are feeling and how they're like that human aspect of it, right? Like adults, we're supposed to know everything, and we don't. We're all in this together, and it's new. And how are, I guess, how are you seeing like your athletes internalize all this? And are they like just itching to come back, or is there hesitancy? Is it, how are they managing all of that?
yeah, sure. Well, I think with anything, there's individual differences. So we always encourage our staff who are trained clinicians who are using that phrase of coach to reduce the stigma and increase access. But just checking in with their kids and their athletes just to ask them how they are doing, because we're seeing a wide range of experiences of kids who have sort of a secondary anxiety of, oh, life is then changing again, and we're going back to society, and we're going through reentry. So what do I expect? What are the expectations of me? What is this going to look like? So helping people navigate that and process that. But of course, you're also seeing kids who are very excited about coming back, seeing their friends, getting to play on the playground again, the possibility of school, but who knows what school is going to look like. So I
Yeah.
would say we're seeing, hearing, and expecting a very wide range of experiences, and also symptoms too, because we are a mental health agency, from our kids and our families. And then when you have kids, you also have the significant adult in their life who is really trying to buffer that stress and anxiety. And so when you deal with a kid, you're also seeing how that's being mirrored in the adult. And so that is sort of like a dynamic relationship of, if the adult is anxious or really excited, it's going to be seen also in the child sometimes.
I think the work you guys are doing is unbelievable. And one of the things that I kind of took away from what you were saying that I started to kind of laugh at is one of the things that I had to learn is when someone asks me how I'm doing, to answer them honestly. And I
Yeah.
think that's amazing for your coaches to be asking, because they care. And then it's a challenge that I'll extend to your athletes and all the kids, is like, answer it honestly, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I I would have a high anxiety day where I was just shutting down and mentally spiraling. And my husband would say, like, how was your day? I'd be like, it was good. Like,
Mm,
we're great. Like, and that's not helping, right?
right.
It's only isolating. And I think if they have a platform of someone who cares and who is genuinely asking, and someone asks, yeah, it's a challenge. I've had to learn it. It's like, answer, hey, today was tough. It, didn't really crush as well as I was expecting. Or I also, hey, today was a day that it was very good. Be honest about it. And that's something that, it's amazing where those conversations go, and how you get further than just saying, like, yeah, everything's good.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. So yeah, that's awesome. That really stuck out to me, because that's something that, I mean, I'm still learning and trying and challenging myself. So
I
I
think I
challenge
think
your
we
crew
all
that.
are. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
The how are you really challenge that's going around on social media, and I hope that our kids and our families are hearing what you're saying and reiterate that challenge back to them. But Jess, thank you so much. This has been a really great conversation today. And for those who are not familiar with our work at Doc Wayne, we fuse sport and therapy to heal and strengthen at-risk youth. And we've actually expanded those services to adults right now. And during the pandemic, we're providing telehealth services to kids and families. Typically, we provide those during the school day, after school, before school, in community centers, and in residential treatment facilities. And if you need mental health services or resources, feel free to reach out to us at support@docwayne.org. And if you're interested in supporting our work and helping us reach more kids, you can visit us at docwayne.org or text donate to 205-570-7251. And just a reminder that this session with Jess is episode 10 of Kids and COVID-19. And you can watch the other 9 episodes and this one when it's posted as a recording on our YouTube page. And the handle is Doc Wayne DTG. And we want to thank Jess for her time. I consider her a teammate forever, and we both appreciate the BUO SOC community and how that brought us together, and really honestly
Absolutely.
the global sport community that we're both a part of, and wish you all the best and stay healthy and happy during this very challenging time. Bye-bye.
Thanks.